Alright, so after a whole bunch of MacGyvering that I failed to document, the bottom edge of the hole was, as far as I can tell, I shouldn't say bottom, it's top edge of the hole, had little or no wear in it. I had been intentionally trying not to cut that to leave maximum thickness, so what I ended up doing was clamping a straight edge in the hole and then shimming this axle until that straight edge measured parallel to the table. That's how I'm matching the caster angle it originally had. Now I realize that ain't super precision, but I don't know what else to do to it because we don't know what the angle was and we have nothing else to measure off from. So what I'm getting ready to do now, and then because I found out that this is a steel forging instead of a ductile iron casting like I had originally thought, I went ahead and welded up the bore in there in the hopes. I didn't try and take it all the way to original size because we really do want a bushing in there, but I'm wanting to keep more material than what I was going to have to before. So I'm hoping I can bore that thing out about 1.25 inches, which would let me, it's a 1-inch pin, that would let me have an 1/8 inch wall bushing in there. So get ready to pop through there with a end mill. It was 1.25 inches, but it's been resharpened, so it's a little under, and we're just going to see what that looks like after I've gone through there with that. But first I got to get centered up on the boss a little bit. So I would say we were pushing too high of RPM. I smoked the end off my end mill, started seeing things glowing in there. That's got me paranoid 'cause I don't have a real solid setup here, so I got to double check, make sure that I haven't accidentally pushed this part. I'm shoving on it that hard. So we're going to slap the square up here. Man, we moved it like crazy. Those numbers don't match at all. That end has not moved. I realize this is a really honky way of doing this, but and that end has not moved. Okay. Wasn't looking forward to setting all that up again. I'm not really sure what went wrong there. I think I just straight up had too much RPM and probably hit some pretty tough stuff with welding. Should have known better. But anyway, no harm, no foul. This end mill was nothing award-winning to start with. So now I just got to find something else. All I was really trying to find out by punching that through there is how big I'm going to have to go to get that hole to clean up. Okie dokie, let's try this again. We've got the instant quarter tool in there. We've got the speeds down to more, RPMs down to more appropriate level. Yep, I'm there. Sounds good. See you when you get here. Thanks. Bye now. going to get 100% cleanup, but I'm not going to worry about that as long as I got good support top and bottom. The spot where it's not going to completely clean up is down the sides. It'll have full contact front and back. There's going to be a few little voids in the middle. We're not going to chase that. It's looking real good. What do you know? We made it through without letting magic smoke out of the building this time. Alright, let's see what she looks like. Not so shabby. Okay, so but most of the wear was this direction because the weight of the tractor sitting on it wore in deeper. So what I did is welded up the bottom like mad. Now it had wallered around a bit, and you can see looking in there, I got a couple of voids on the sides because it was, wallowed out kind of oblong more around there. But I don't think I'm going to worry about that. It's too hard to weld up the sides. It's too small of a hole. I was having a hard time getting in there with the size gun that I've got and doing much good at all. I could stick weld, but it'd make a mess, and I don't think that this whole project warrants that kind of attention. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and make a bushing to pop in there. Now the thing I got to decide is what we're going to make that bushing out of. I don't think this thing originally had a bushing in there at all. As far as I can tell, they just ran her steel on steel, and you can see how that worked out. So we're going to see what we can do for an alternative to that. I'll keep you posted on what I come up with. I'm thinking bronze, though. That seems to me like the most sensible sensible solution. But anyhow, I'll show you the next stage when we get to it. Alright, so I was going to leave this undersize. I think I mentioned I was using resharp bits, or end mills. And then it dawned upon me that if I do, then standard size bushings won't ever fit this. So I'm going to reamer out is the theory here. Hand reamer, but I think I got to get a socket on this and a T-wrench. This is not flying very good. Question here will be if I can find a socket that's the right size. Trying to see if I got it right first try. 12-point socket and a T-wrench is a much better way to run one of these. Keep the load on the reamer even. Nope. Even at that, it's a lot of reamer to be running by hand. 1.25 inches. Starting to catch your stride now. What you want? Just like that, she's through. Oh yeah, that looks nice. So the beauty of that is that now we can just get a standard 1.25 OD bushing. So that'll have the press fit built into it to fit in an 1.25 reamed hole. This reamer, by the way, is kind of interesting. Here in one of his more recent videos, Keith Rucker over there on Vintage Machinery was showing that he had just got a reamer set, Navy reamer set. This is part of an identical set that I've got. I don't remember what brand his was. Mine are Beard. Anyways, I picked these up. A guy that was getting out of machining. He had a kind of hobby shop set up in his garage, but he was totally returning from that. I think he sold me this set of reamers for 40 bucks. Some of them have been used a bit, but they were all in pretty decent shape. And it's, I forget, 1/4 inch to 1.25 by 64ths, if I remember right. Or I'd have to look. Maybe it was 30 seconds. But anyway, it's a pretty good set. So anyhow, we got that done. Now we're ready to just go ahead and get a bushing order. Alright, cutting off the stock to make a new pin. We're just going to make that out of a piece of cold rolled. I ended up having to order a piece of, what was that, 936 bronze, I think. I could not get a factory manufactured bushing that wasn't some of that oil impregnated bull crap. The problem is that automatically drastically reduces the pressure or load rating of the bushing is the problem. They, you know, when the bushing's got a bunch of porosity in it for oil pockets, that just makes it more compressible. So anyways, we're going to get this rolling, get ourselves one of these made. Then they can have this thing back, hopefully, and I can have one more thing out of my shop. You want to take video, Wiggles?
Huh?
You gonna take video of it?
Is it on?
It's on. Pecking. We have to go in and out and let the chips get out of there. So when you get in really deep, the chips can't get out. There's a little bit if you want to drill too far. And it lets more oil get in there.
When it says, I want to get a quick close-up look.
This is the Alright, now this is the tap drill for the 1/8" pipe.
Hey, Dad. I think that
bump it out one drill size. Here, let me get past you. Just realized that was a bit on the tight side. And I really would like to.
I think that's why, guys.
All right. Well, unfortunately, my camera that I'm using maxed out its memory before I got quite done with this project last night, so I think I pretty well had shown this. All I did is ground the faces up a little bit by hand where the weld had flowed over the edge, but I did get the pins finished, so there's the original pin. Thankfully, they had not chamfered this or anything, so I was able to just stick it in the lathe, cut the weld off, and then press the old pin out. You see there's new pin, tapped, drilled for the grease passage. So anyways, the only thing I've got now is today the bushing stock's supposed to show up for it, and then hopefully we'll be able to get this thing, get a bushing machined. I really was hoping I could just buy a standard bushing, but which it's plenty standard size. Like this is a little over 2 inches long. I could get away with a 2-inch long bushing. It's 1.25 OD, 1-inch ID, which is totally stock bushing, but all I could find was them oil impregnated ones. And my experience with those is that they are pretty crumbly and they don't handle impacts well. Just not a good idea on a front tractor axle. It's going to get beat and pounded on and subjected to high loads. So anyhow, we're going to make one out of some solid bronze and know what we've got. So anyway, I'll probably shoot some video when we get the bushing making underway, and then call this project a wrap pretty quick. Howdy everybody. Well, as usual, I got so busy I didn't shoot video, but I've got this done. So the bushing stock came in today. I went ahead, like I mentioned, I couldn't get any of the exact size I wanted, so I machined this up and then made it a pretty healthy press fit in here. I've got about 2/1000 of press fit on there, which is, quite a bit on an 1.25 OD bushing. It's enough I could drive it in there with a, nice stout hammer, but it was a pretty good swat. So anyways, drove it in, and then as I had expected, I had it reamed to fit the pin, and then that shrank it enough the pin wouldn't go through. So I went ahead and reamed it to 1 inch. It was cold rolled, slightly undersized, but I was a little paranoid. It was a slip fit, but barely. You got to tap it in there. And anyways, I went ahead and got an expandable reamer and reamed that thing to intentionally put a little bit of slap in it. And the reason I did that, I'm paranoid of this thing. It's not going to get a lot of use over the, it's a show tractor. And if it starts off really tight and it happens to sit around and rust the pin a little bit or something, you'll get some water in it sitting at a show and rust up. This is the kind of stuff that likes to try and spin and shear off the retaining bolt later. So that's one reason. And the other reason is that, as you recall, we did some best guesstimate on what the angle this is supposed to be as well. This thing has got, I don't know what you call it, a yoke or stabilizer that comes from this and mounts to a spot back under the tractor frame. Well, if my best guesstimate on this angle doesn't match that perfectly, I'd be trying to put the pin in a bind. So I figured, what, a little bit, I don't know if you can see this, but just a little bit of slap in there to help give it a bit more forgiveness. Now, if they go to put this in and stuff doesn't line up, then what we're probably going to have to do, I already thought this through, is probably make them another bushing, intentionally leave it undersized, and then run through there with a piloted reamer. Put the back brace piece in, run through this hole with a piloted reamer while going through the holes that the pin goes through in the frame of the tractor. But I'm hoping we're close enough and that it's not fussy enough that this thing will go ahead and behave itself and go in there. But anyway, we've done the best we can do considering the very limited information we've got, and hopefully they're able to stick her all back together. And if I get a chance to see this tractor running around at the tractor show, I'll shoot some video of it so you can see the thing all together after showing video of fixing the axle and then getting all those head studs out there a month or so back. So anyway, that's a wrap. I think we'll be done with this project and on to the next one.